Some of you probably know World Magazine, and which is published here in Asheville. And in the last issue, Joel Bells was making this comment. First of all, he mentioned Randy's book, and he called it a must-read book, the one on heaven. And I think that's really true. And then he asked the question, will there be wastebaskets in heaven? And he says, let me assert without biblical proof, but just for the sake of argument, that we will indeed have such items in eternity. Where else would you discard your peelings when you prepare a perfectly heavenly apple pie? Well, well, Randy, that maybe gets down to a certain level, but you see heaven as a very physical place.
I do.
And a good place for that. Yes. But tell us just a little bit more about what you see heaven being, what we have to look forward to.
Well, here's just a little clue to it. And sometime read through Isaiah chapter 60, which is quoted twice in Revelation 21 and 22 and applied to the new earth. Well, if the passages from Isaiah 60 that are applied to the new earth refer to the new earth, which obviously they do, what about the rest of Isaiah 60? Read what's in there. Read about the animals. Read about the ships coming on the water. Read about all of these things and Jerusalem, and it's talking about the new Jerusalem. It's just so obvious when you set it up and you correspond Isaiah 60 to the last chapters of Revelation. But let me just read to you one at the end of Revelation 21. It says, the nations will walk by its light, and the kings of the earth will bring their splendor into it. Some translations say, will bring their treasures into it. It says then, on no day will its gates, the gates of the New Jerusalem, ever be shut. There will be no night there. The glory and honor of the nations will be brought into it. Well, this is the new earth. This is not the millennial kingdom. Millennial kingdom was in chapter 20, final judgment, end of the old order, all things new made in the new heavens, new earth, and all things new means the old things renewed. New body has a continuity with that old body. New earth has a continuity with the older. But we have the kings of the nations of the earth bringing treasures, and having done a word study of that, I think it's talking about cultural treasures. You know, the things that are made by human hands, resurrected human hands, brought into, perhaps set at the very feet of Christ, who's on the throne. The kings of the nations, there are nations, people of every tribe, nation, and language, not people who used to be of every tribe, nation, and language. Don't think that those distinctions will be obliterated. This is not the Hindu concept of all merging into this cosmic oneness. These are individual people who retain their individual traits. Their gender, some people say, well, if you're a man, will you always be a man? If you're a woman, you'll always be a woman. What else would you be? I mean, Jesus in his resurrected body is clearly recognized even before when they know it's, and Mary at first when she assumes in the darkness that it's a gardener, it's a male gardener. I mean, he's a man, everybody knows this. And then as soon as she hears his voice, she goes, oh, that's him. That's Rabboni. That's my Lord. That's my master. So I think if you just even look at some of these passages, there's nations on the new earth. There's kings of the nation. So when Jesus said, been faithful in little, I'll put you over much. I'll put you over 5 cities. I'll put you over 10 cities. There's a lot of scholars, you'll read those passages, they say, well, of course, he doesn't really mean 5 cities and 10 cities. There's not going to be any cities up there where we're floating around with the angels. And then you go, but it makes perfect sense when all those passages that talk about crowns, which symbolize ruling, and will reign with Christ, well, we'll reign with Christ on the new earth as he intended from Genesis 1 and 2, as is fulfilled in Revelation 21 and 22. The kings of the nations of the earth will bring their treasures into the new Jerusalem. Just ponder that for a couple million years. Wow.